Hey guys, it's your girl Maya K, and we are back with another video. Today, I just wanted to really give some encouragement for writers out there, especially for my writers writing fiction. But these tips can actually fit anybody. The reason why I particularly focus on writers who write fiction is because one, I'm a fiction writer. And two, I found that sometimes there can be like this stigma around like fiction writing. You know, a lot of times I've even run into people who said, no, I don't read fiction. I need nonfiction. I don't have time to read fiction. And they kind of make it seem like fiction isn't as important of a genre. And I've also run into, writers who feel like, well, if I'm not writing nonfiction, I can't make enough money or whatever the case may be. So I like to really pump up, my fiction writers. And here we go. So yes, again, this is encouragement for anyone, but particularly for my fiction writers, because it can get a little discouraging. People do read nonfiction more. They read self-help, especially self-help has become a huge genre over the last 10 years. And, especially if you find somebody's book on, Oprah's book club or something, it's like a big deal. And so I understand how it can feel to wonder if you're ever going to see success as a novelist. Okay, so I just want to encourage you guys. Number one, stay focused on what is in your heart and not what's on the charts. I didn't mean to drop a bar on purpose, but the fact that it rhymes, it just makes this tip even more encouraging. So you obviously can tell what I mean by this. Again, just because a certain genre might be selling more, that doesn't mean that's what you need to write. You need to stay focused on what's in your heart. If I'm honest, it's discouraging sometimes the amount of agents who don't represent Christian romance. And so there are a lot of agents who represent Christian writers. Let me be clear. But a lot of them are nonfiction. There's actually a website, Reedsy, I think it's reedsy.com, who literally put together like a full list of Christian agents for me. But out of all of those agents, I think it was like 35 of the Christian agents that were looking for writers in 2021 and 2022. But if I'm honest, by the time I narrowed down the list, because you got to do your research, I only was able to query like 4 of them because many of them are looking for nonfiction. But I'm not going to go write a nonfiction book because that's what they're looking for. I keep true to what's in my heart, because if I'm not passionate when I'm writing it, I'm not going to be passionate enough to promote it. Okay. So make sure whatever your lane is, wherever you find yourself, wherever, you said, I want to be here. That doesn't mean that that's what you'll write forever. It doesn't. You can also spread your wings and tap into other genres. But if you know your heart is in Christian romance or dystopian or fantasy middle grade or whatever the case may be, make sure you're writing what's in your heart and not what's on the charts. Number 2, write consistently, but live in the moment. Now, the reason why I say this is because, as writers, we have large imaginations, okay? And we can live in our heads a lot. Because we read and we write so much, we tend to enjoy like the fantasy a little bit more than reality. That's not like bad, and that's not necessarily crazy, but it is something that we have to balance and monitor, because we are writers who, like I said, we have large imaginations, and we always know how to like really tap into our, creative side. There's a way sometimes for that to be distracting. So you have this large imagination, you have this large vision, and sometimes that can kind of make you forget that you need to live in the moment. I have found myself so engrossed in the story, and when I come out of my writing session, I'm like, why do I feel like I really know Ellie? There has to be an Ellie out here somewhere. And that's my character's name. So I think it's important for you to live in the moment. Writing consistently is great, like whatever your routine is, but don't get so caught up in your writing that you aren't able to like disconnect, because then you'll become like this Lifetime character. I don't know if you ever seen this, like 2 Lifetime movies I've seen where, old girl was up there living a fantasy, or this guy, he was actually like making his scenes come to life in real life, and he was killing people because he was it was like a suspense, a mystery novel. We don't want you getting that deep, okay? So you got to come out and live in the moment. Also, living in the moment allows you to step away from your work and to breathe a little bit. I think sometimes we get really caught up in our work and because we're trying to make it. At the end of the day, writing and building a successful writing career, it takes time. It is hard work and it does require consistency, but just live in the moment, okay? The next tip is connect with writers as much as you can, but like go out and connect with other people as well. You'll be surprised. I have found some of my greatest material just talking to kids. When I was a substitute teacher back home in Philadelphia in the fall of 2017, I remember like I had 17,000 words written for the second book in the Clover Chronicles, Chasing Kashmir. And this young guy, he pressed upon my spirit so heavily, like how much young people went through and, you know, his age group. And I felt bad for the generation behind me. I was like, this is crazy. Oh, I'm sorry. I think the camera shook. I'm like, this is crazy. And so that made me go back and I started from scratch. I literally rewrote the entire book. Because I was like, I hear what he's saying and I feel what he's saying. And so he wasn't a writer, but he inspired me, he encouraged me, and he gave me another even better idea for the book. So my thing is, while it's great to connect with writers, I think it's more important to connect with people outside of the writing network. So that could be just going out. We're kind of coming through this pandemic, right? And so things are more open. People are just, you know, they're more talkative. I know in 2020, everybody was like scared to talk to everybody, but now we're at a place where conferences are back on. But you want to just maybe go to a business conference instead of going to a writer's conference. You know, maybe you should go to something different. Go to the flower show in your city because this will give you an opportunity to kind of just connect with people and explore life differently. I think that's important. And then lastly, stay motivated by studying the industry. I think one of the things that I find a lot of writers do is that they write more than they actually pay attention to the industry. I am still kind of like, it blows my mind the amount of agents that say they still get submissions for stuff they don't represent, or they just get letters that are just, you could tell, like no type of thought into it, no type of like homework done. That is disappointing to me, people, because that means you're not staying up on the industry. Study the industry. Make it clear that you know what you're talking about and that you want to be a part of this. And I think sometimes as writers, we get really caught up in the creative part that we might forget the business part. Now, I know in a couple of videos ago, I talked about the importance of like not losing your passion for the hobby of writing. And that's true. But you also want to remember, this is for those writers who are looking to build a career, a real solid, successful career in this industry. Then you're going to have to make sure you're studying this industry, you're studying this business, you're being committed to seeing yourself grow. This means you need to go on Amazon and order those books, order those resources that are going to be integral to your path. This means, you know, buying books that may even be kind of outside of your genre. I tell people all the time, it's okay to read outside of your genre because it may expand your worldview and your knowledge. And so you got to stay on top of the industry, sign up for organizations. You don't have to be a part of every single one, but definitely sign up for organizations. You have to invest in the career you want. And so it's more than just writing the book. It's more than just even getting the book edited. It's understanding that this is a business. One of the things that I have had people say to me over the years is how solid I am when it comes to business, period, which is why I was a business coach. Because I understand how to start, launch, grow a business. And so I kind of pull that over into my literary coaching as well. And so eventually I'm going to offer brand coaching as I get down the line. But right now, when you go to my website, you won't see that. I used to offer author brand coaching because I think it's so important to build your world. You're not just a writer like for the creative part. You're a writer because you want to build a successful writing career. And so stay motivated to study the industry. But one of the ways you do stay motivated is by studying the industry. Nothing is more demotivating than like reading something 2 years late and like you feeling like you're out of the loop. Education doesn't stop, just because we're out of school or we're out of college. You have to stay motivated. You don't know how excited I get going on Publishers Marketplace. And I encourage you to get a membership. I think it's like $20 a month or $25 a month. And don't get me wrong, sometimes we can't always afford that. But you know what? I don't have Netflix right now because there are other things where my $10, $15, I think they actually went up, $15 can go towards than watching movies. Okay. So do whatever it takes to stay up on your industry. Don't study it so much that you get rigid, but study it enough that you are actually investing into your career. All right, so stay focused on what's in your heart, not what's on the charts. That's number one. Number two, write consistently, but make sure you're living in the moment, because living in the moment really helps your writing. Number three, connect with writers as much as you can, but talk to other people. Get out there and live and talk to the people. Talk to the people in your yard. Like if you have one of those communities, like in my apartment complex, like when we all go into the front, the yard or whatever, talk to people in your yard. Talk to people on your block. Talk to people in your apartment complex. Grow your mind, okay? Because sometimes, again, as writers, we're living in our heads because writing is a lonely job, but you got to get out there. And then lastly, stay motivated by studying the industry. The reason why I chose these 4 tips to encourage writers, particularly writers of, fiction, is because these 4 tips help me all the time. Like I'm not just like preaching, I'm actually going to be living what I'm preaching, right? So I stay focused on what's in my heart. I don't care how much fantasy sells. I don't care how much, material about, like the civil unrest. There's a lot of books that are selling that touch on racial topics. And I don't care how much something is selling. What's in my heart is Christian romance for adults and young adults. That's what's on my heart. What's on my heart is seeing people be able to read content that's clean, that's not filled with erotica, and that's not filled with vulgarity and cursing. That's what's in my heart. What's in my heart is pushing forward books that actually highlight Christ and Christ's love for all of us. And that's what's in my heart. So no matter how much something is popular, I'm just not going to pander to the audience. I have to, or the charts, I have to pander to what's in my heart. I write consistently, but there are times where I pull away and I'll go for a walk. Like literally when I'm done recording this video, I'm probably gonna go for like a 30-minute walk. I like to pull away and be in the moment. I'll text a couple of people, hey, what are you working on? How are you doing? How are you feeling? Because it keeps me in the moment. Again, we have large imaginations and sometimes we love living in them. And then I connect with people all the time, especially through my business. And I love that I have been a business coach because I have like that pull from that side of it. I've been able to connect with people on all levels, which helps me in this business. I don't just connect with writers. And then I'm always studying the industry. I'm studying how to write, even though I write good query letters, I still want to kind of like study it because I have clients who will be coming to me. And this is why it's important for me to stick to my genres, because I want to be able to help you successfully. And so I hope these tips blessed you. I'm really big on encouragement. What other types of things do you want to know? That's what this channel is all about. The Maya K Show is here to help you with your literary publishing career as well as Hollywood. Do you guys want to see some Hollywood videos? Like, I have success over at Hollywood as far as like having producers having read my scripts, and I've had like recommendation letters written for me for writing fellowships. But if that's something you guys want to hear on the literary side, we can talk about that too. Make sure you like and subscribe, share the video, and I will catch you guys soon.